70s, crime became racialized as a black and brown problem. And if you go check the incarceration rates in prison, now you start seeing different people entering the prison, and those people are us.
And Brian, I wanted to, since you brought that up, I wanted, because we're starting to run out of time, but I want to get a few things in there before you go. Can you please tell the listeners about the article that you have hanging in your office about the state of South Carolina schools versus jails, and what the statistic for likelihood? What is the current statistic for the likelihood of black men over the age of 18 to be institutionalized, incarcerated?
I'm gonna finish up with the comment that he made. He wanted me to talk about. Well, in Michelle Alexander's new book called The New Jim Crow, she talks about the federal government choosing what neighborhoods they wanted to seek out that had drugs in them. These same drugs were in the suburbs. These same drugs were in private schools. But they hired more police, and the media pursued poor black communities because it was purpose-driven. So that's where I term that phrase, wherever you shine the brightest light, you're going to find the most dirt. You can follow us all for a certain amount of time, and we'll be off-center from being in the middle. That's just human nature. Things happen. So if you put more police in this impoverished community where folks are responding with crime as a coping mechanism, of course you're going to make more arrests. And of course you're going to report that to the federal government as this is a crime community. But you're not going over to Alpharetta and with the same amount of police in the suburbs to see the cocaine that's been distributed there at much higher rates than it is on the corner of a $5 hit of crack. All right, Gail, secondly, now, the article I have up in, I came home one weekend, and country boy like I am, southern boy, I'm sorry, eating my grits and drinking my Welch's grape juice. I read the newspaper at my mom's house, and they have missing black men in South Carolina colleges. There are 3 public schools, College of Charleston, Clemson, and University of South Carolina, combined, didn't have 3% total black men enrolled in their schools. That same age demographic that should have been in school represented 69% of the prison population for the state of South Carolina. That's where your brothers are.
69%?
69% were locked up.
In college.
That college age.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 3% were enrolled in Clemson, University of South Carolina, and the College of Charleston.
Wow.
So that's a school. So what we're doing is understanding this school-to-prison pipeline when you start having the conversation about every 26 seconds a young black man is kicked out of school. Notice I didn't say drop out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use that terminology. You're being forced out of school. If you come to school and you're sleeping and your teacher comes by, says nothing to you but sends you to the office, she didn't even inquire to say, well, Brian, why are you sleeping in class? Because that unconscious bias has a negative connotation with a young black man sleeping in class. Instead of asking him, well, baby, what's wrong? Not knowing he may be up all night hustling, trying to feed his 2 little brothers and sisters. It doesn't mean he don't care about education. It doesn't mean that. We used to have a system before we segregated our schools where our teachers wouldn't allow that. How do I know that? Because my mother went to those schools. They wouldn't allow you. They wouldn't send you home. Sending kids home is not the answer to disciplinary issues. What are you supposed to do when you go home? That's an easy way out, and that's what we've done. So it's easy to stack these blocks against young black men and say, y'all deal with them, y'all deal with them. And now we're just creating a system where we're warehousing each other for nonviolent offenses. Most of the people in prison today are in prison for nonviolent offenses, and those offenses are drugs. Flat out.
Wow. Now, like I said, we're running out of time, but and so I want to wrap up. But before you go, I want to know, well, tell everyone what your plans are after you complete your doctorate. Are you going to be teaching, lecturing on the lecture circuit, or both? And what is your ultimate goal that you hope to accomplish, and how can people, follow your work?
I just accepted an assistant professor position at Delaware State University. So I will be teaching for that university starting in the fall. I'm going to be lecturing, hopefully around the country. Consider myself as a public intellectual. You know, I do this thing called copy and paste. I want to take everything that I get here through my research, through my experiences, and I want to bring it back to the streets. I want to bring it back to the folks that aren't privy to what I'm privy to. I'm writing a dissertation now about bail operation procedures, actually in Atlanta. I spent time in Atlanta in Fulton County in the court system down there talking about how decisions are made for folks that get arrested. I actually want to create a street-level bail guide for everyone in Atlanta. I want them to know what we know as professionals. They're the ones that decisions are being made on. So I really want to do a public intellectual thing in addition to academia. I'm going to be speaking at conferences. As soon as I get over my shyness, I'm going to create a documentary about some of this work that I've been doing as well.
Shyness, I love it.
Now,
as far as
following, are you getting on social media?
That's the shyness I'm talking about. I'm not exactly sure if I can do Twitter or Facebook. I don't have either one of those accounts. But I'm always available through email or phone calls. I'm still old school. I really prefer to hear your voice.
Well,
I'm a passionate young man, so I don't mind people having access directly to me. It's not that type of party,
Well, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you then.
Oh, bstarks04@gmail.com. bstarks04@gmail.com. My ultimate goal, I know it's cliche, but I want to flood the gates in education for young men like me. I want to change the verbiage that's been written about our community. I want to change history. I want the words to change that define black men in high school, elementary, middle, daycare, college. I want those books to read differently about our communities.
Amen.
And I'm in a position to do that.
And I'm glad that with you being in your position, that you are, taken to the streets and spreading the knowledge for change and invoking change. And we're going to have you back on the show because 45 minutes just wasn't enough.
It was. I do want to let everyone know too. Also, the ATL lovers of Young Jeezy. Me and my partner. This is my partner in research named Dr. Yasser Arafat Payne. He and I work very closely together. But we got a paper out entitled "Gangsta Rap's Response to Poverty in the Black Community," and we used Young Jeezy's The Recession album and coded all his lyrics for socio-political themes, and we wrote a academic paper about it. We're trying to get it published in an academic journal.
Well, we'll definitely be looking out for that and everything else that you're doing. We are definitely looking forward to witnessing you in action. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's really been a pleasure having you, and you don't sound that shy on the radio. I just have to.
Well, you can't give me a mic and ask me to talk, but the shyness is there. Before
All
I go,
right,
let me say
thanks.
Gail, Clark, thank y'all for what y'all doing. Seriously, yo, it means a whole lot for folk like me to have our chance to voice what's really going on in the world. So y'all keep doing what you're doing, and the folks will always hold you.